4K both being chrono boosted, continuous probe production as well out of Shadow. And looks like he's just running around with this probe in the main, trying to check stuff out. We have concussive shells on the way, as well as that Marauder. So I would not be surprised if we saw a Marauder expansion. It looks like that's exactly what Warden is doing.
And there we go. That SCV is dropping down the blueprints. Not just yet. He is saving up, and there he has 400 minerals. There it is, the command center, as you predicted.
On its way. And it looks like we are going to be seeing an expand out of Shadow as well. A very quick expand off of, looks like a 3-gate. So this is actually going to be a 3-gate pressure build. This is a build I'm actually really fond of as as a person who occasionally plays Protoss off-race. Going for that 3-gate pressure into expansion is so versatile against what Terran can do. I mean, we've already established by the scouting that we did that Terran is not going for fast Banshees, so they're probably not going to be doing a 1-1-1. It looks like we're going for an early expand or Marauder expand, and so doing something like this is just so smart because you'll be able to have enough units to put a little bit of pressure on your opponent. You won't kill them, and you're going to get your expand up safely as well.
And I'm surprised he actually didn't get a second gas that fast. Usually you want a few more sentries in there, especially if there's a bunker. You can force field the bunker to prevent the SCVs from repairing it. Although I think that is mostly reserved for a 4-gate when you actually want to all-in with this.
Yeah, maybe. It looks like we do have a proxy pylon going down, though, at the 3rd base, so we will be able to reinforce that, and a 3rd bunker going down. So Warden here not messing around. He does not want to lose to any types of all-ins. An all-in is not what's on the way from Shadow. Looks like he's got some Stalkers. Stalker's a great unit because they are so fast. But Shadow is going to be able to poke in there. What did he see? Did he see...
He did not see much.
He saw the bunker, so he has to assume that the expansion is there, but he does not know for sure.
3 bunkers up in the front of the expansion is going to keep Warden very safe here. I don't think there's a possibility of Shadow actually busting through this with only 3 gates.
Absolutely.
But his expansion is now done, transferring half his probes there, about getting his second gas, and now is when he's actually going to have to pick his tech.
And I'm actually really excited to see what we've got coming out of Warden here. This is a Ghost Academy, so we have a very early Ghost Academy on its way here. And look at this. Shadow sees that, has spent no gas on sentries, is just now on a second gas. He's like, you know what? Not a problem. I'm just going to go ahead and pull back with these units, not attack, and you spent a whole bunch of money on bunkers and on being defensive that you didn't have to. Look, another bunker going down from Warden. Even
he
if
really feels threatened at this point.
Absolutely. Even if you don't don't have to worry about or even if you put those bunkers down and you're now safe and you can salvage them later. The thing with the bunker is it delays whatever you were going to spend that money on.
And you know what? Those bunkers aren't really optional because he was not able to move out even close to Shadow's base, so he does not know about the expansion. He does not have any idea what's going on in Shadow's base, so he really has to cover his bases and produce those 4 bunkers just in case a 4-gate comes.
Hold on, though, here. We have a big move out from Terran. He has Stim finished as well as Concussive Shell. So this is actually a pretty scary attack out of him. And, we have 1 Ghost. I guarantee you that is going to wait until it has 75 energy, and then we are going to see a push. Because that is actually really scary out of Terran that you can do that at the 10-minute mark. I actually did not know that.
And this small group of units is about the radius of an EMP round, so a great EMP here could completely deny every single shield on this. Nice split on the sentries already.
Yeah, look at the split out of Shadow. He knows what's up. And
there we go.
Good force skills going down.
Half the army. And
really,
Shadow was ready for this.
He was completely ready for that. He said, you know what? I see your little 1 Ghost Stim timing, and that's getting denied.
and great play by Shadow. That was completely one-sided.
Absolutely. Shadow throwing down that robotics bay, getting another observer out, and I love the double forge play. I think that is probably one of my favorite styles of Protoss play, is that heavy upgrade style with gateway units. You can mix in a few Colossus, to kind of throw your opponent off guard, because of course if you're going for that upgrade style, those Vikings are absolutely useless, and if you're not, then you absolutely have to have them as Terran.
One thing that is going good for Warden that actually came out of that push is he was ahead in Harvesters. He is still ahead in Harvesters for just this small window, and with those mules, that is actually going to translate into a big difference.
Absolutely.
As with Protoss, you usually want to be ahead in Harvesters.
Yeah, you do. And throwing on a couple more gates is going to bring him up to 5 gates, I believe. 1-1 is soon to be finishing. Has not started Colossus range yet, but really can't quite afford to at the moment. We're going to see... Oh, we saw a third out of Shadow. So that's where his money is going. And I'm not sure if I like the decision to go for a third before you have Colossus out.
Before the first Colossus, it is kind of risky, but I mean, considering Warden has not really moved up, had like a really big push, and Shadow just dealt with it so easily, he could be feeling a bit overconfident here, and that's why he's expanding. These sentries are going to stay at the ramp and guard everything. He did see this big move out by 4K Warden.
And this is actually another huge move out. And again, we've got
a ghost in there.
We have a singular ghost trailing behind. The scan is going to reveal what's going on, and he's going to try and push up this ramp again. And he's got those Vikings for spotting. He's got his one ghost with 75 energy now.
Once again, there is a great spread on those sentries. That EMP will only be able to kill one, or at least to pick the energy out of one sentry. One Colossus is already up. Thermal Lance is about 40 seconds away. If he delays this push any more, I feel it's going to get weaker and weaker as he delays it.
It absolutely will. I mean, and that's the big thing here, is that he has to realize that he does have 4 medevacs back at home, and so I'm not sure if
and there it is. He does realize it, and he's heading back home.
But is that ghost going to get picked off? No, one of the Vikings is though, and oh no, that ghost is definitely going to get picked off.
Yeah, the ghost is going to die,
and that is a huge victory for Shadow.
That lone ghost corpse.
Back at home, there's only one ghost still alive, gathering up some energy,
and the factory is still floating up, just above the natural.
That factory not long for this world. We do see Blink is on the way, and 2-2 for the infantry, or ground weapons rather, on the way, and looks like 3 more gates being added on. So this will bring him up to a grand total of 8 gates. He is on 3 base though. He has cut pro production at the time. I'm not sure if that's intentional or not. I would probably be working on saturating up that 3rd base, but that is a huge Marine Marauder ball.
That factory driver just going crazy right now. His factory is burning down, and I don't think he's going to survive.
It is a huge Marine Marauder ball.
With a lot of medevacs there, those are going to help immensely at the healing. How many Colossus are there? There are actually 2 Colossi in this death ball from the Protoss player, and that is just one huge supply advantage for Warden at this point. He is
absolutely
40 supply ahead.
Yeah, I'm actually really concerned for Shadow in this engagement. It looks like his macro has been slipping. He's up at 700 minerals there, and the stim in with a bunch of his army running forward. Oh wow, a great feedback on one of those ghosts, and it looks like he is engaging. Are those Vikings going to be able to take everything out? And Archon being morphed in at the front line.
Down, but I don't think it's going to be enough. I think Shadow is actually going to clean this up pretty easily.
Wow, that was amazing.
And Shadow really knows what he's doing right here.
Colossus did some exceptional damage. They were not killed off quick enough.
One of them survives at only 6 HP. Shadow with the 40 supply disadvantage, holding that off as if it was nothing. And now Warden is stuck fumbling for his third base. He's trying to reproduce his army, and yet Shadow has a very, very solid army of 131 supply versus 122, so you can see that huge drop in supply from Warden.
He is at 2-2, Shadow is. So with his, his upgrades are definitely ahead here.
And he is going to move out right now, and I agree with this. After a huge engagement like that, you know you're ahead. You probably guessed that your opponent put everything in there that he had, and now is defenseless at his base.
I mean, looking though at the army supply, Shadow is actually only like 6 supply ahead in army size. So the supplies are pretty equal right now. And granted, the Protoss units are very powerful and they're well upgraded.
Yeah, we have seen what he's able to do with that 40 supply disadvantage.
That is true. That is true.
And the Zealot's starting to just be a pest here at the third base, going to be able to kill a few SCVs. I thought
Zealot charge about to finish, as well as Psionic Storm, and 3-3 on the way. So really heavy upgrade style. I love that style out of Protoss. And look at this. Shadow's like, you know what? 3 bases ain't enough. I'm taking a 4th. And so he just takes it. And wow, a huge storm
right there.
Going down, killing off a bunch of those, and some ghosts running forward. But oh wow! Look at that feedback. Look at those feedbacks. Those were phenomenal feedbacks on those ghosts.
And now the main army is left with force fields with all their shields, and this is going to be a cleanup. I mean, there's a GG.
And there is the GG. Again, a respectful GG as Shadow cleans up. And that is an example of what happens when Protoss plays really well.
Wow. You were not kidding about the very, very solid play of Shadow. He really knows what he's doing. He really is playing safe despite being somewhat at a disadvantage. He really does not take any chances in his games, and it really pays off.
Yeah, I mean, and his micro there with those feedbacks against those ghosts was absolutely phenomenal. I mean, he was able to just go in, feedback the ghosts, stop the EMPs from hitting his sentries, and the force fields really are what won him that 40 supply deficit battle.
Yeah, I am very impressed by Shadow's play. Definitely a player to watch out for in this tournament. He is probably going to be reused time and time again in every single matchup. Now we're just going to wait for the veto of Shadow on Warden's choice.
We'll have to see what he chooses. But whatever he chooses, I am really excited to see his next match, because that was some phenomenal play out of him, that match.
I can't agree more. Shadow has my full attention. I really can't wait to see another one of his games. And I really feel like he improved since the last time I saw him play. Yeah, last time I saw him play was about maybe 3 months ago in Gamecom Open, and he was good, but I mean, he did have some very obvious mistakes, and I think he really worked on that. And now, as you said, his PvP is just phenomenal.
Yeah, I mean, like I said, I mean, I've always felt that his PvT is definitely his stronger matchup. Versus PvZ rather.
And there we go, Shakura's Plateau, my all-time favorite map. I love this map. Can't wait to see this great game.
Alright, looks like everyone is ready to go. And the game has been started, so we're going to go ahead and jump in. This map in this matchup, I'm really not sure who this map goes to in this matchup. Is this a Terran friendly map, or is this a Protoss friendly map because of the ramp up in?
I think it's fairly balanced, except one advantage that the Terran does have on this map is the potential for a lot of drops. Those medevacs can really be annoying.
It's absolutely true.
But the same thing goes for the Protoss. If he actually wants to go in that direction, he can be very annoying with Blink Stalkers or even High Templar drops. I know we don't see those enough, but he can really just turn the tides around.
One of the things I've been seeing lately out of some Protosses is immortal drops. And that's actually something that's really exciting to me, because one of the things in Brood War that I really, really liked was Reaver drops, because they could jump in, do a ton of damage, and then get out. And immortal drops, they do damage a different way, of course. They're targeting on pylons, they're targeting on supply depots, but they still have that massive, like, shock potential.
And what kind of GG is that? Is that the unrespectable one?
I have no idea. I think that is probably a good luck, have fun, getting thrown over the wire there. Shadow, of course, throwing down the gateway in his base. Warden has opted to put a supply depot at his ramp, and so I always wonder with Terran players what goes through their mind against a Protoss player, because there's two schools of thought here, right? There's the I'm going to wall off my front school of thought, which says you should wall off your front to keep DTs and other things from running up into your base. And then there's the I'm not going to wall off school of thought, which says if I wall off my front, he's going to 3-gate Void Ray all in me, and he's going to pick off the depots and the barracks at my front first.
And charge off on that depot.
Exactly. And so I'm always curious as to why a player chooses what on which map. I feel like of any of the maps, this map, if we look at the architecture of this ramp at the beginning of the Terran base, you've got these little edge outs kind of that stick out past the ramp, especially over to the left. And to me, that really says this is a safe map to wall off on, because I can put Marines there to deal with these Void Rays.
Exactly. And a gas steal by Shadow.
Gas steal, another strategy that I really like in this matchup, because again, you're just limiting Terran's options. You're basically saying, look, you are not allowed to go Cloaked Banshees against me. Not super fast, at least.
And there you go. The probe finally is down, and that Marine is going to start its job on that assimilator. Meanwhile, Concussive Shell once again is being researched very fast for those Marauders, just to keep those Stalkers at bay, because if you don't have Concussive Shell, these Stalkers are so annoying.
It's absolutely true. Stalkers faster than Marines, and they have a longer range than Marines, which means, theoretically, one Stalker can kill an infinite number of Marines.
Yep. We all hate the Stalkers. They can out-micro everything. It is very, very hard to do, of course, especially when the numbers are kind of big.
Actually getting a Reaper out first.
There we go.
And it's going to be a Reaper expand build, so I actually really like this. He's going to get the Reaper. There's one Stalker out. But that Stalker is poaching out around the map looking for things. So that Stalker is super out of position. And another Stalker is
free to do whatever he wants in the main base, at least until that second Stalker is out another 10 seconds now. And the Reaper has 3 kills.
Potentially do a lot of damage here to this probe line. Look, taking another probe out. And the Stalker finally gets out, cleaning it up. Those probes are going to go on back, but and the Stalker again out of position.
Target that very weak probe.
This Reaper again can do a whole bunch of damage.
And the Reaper is finally going to go down, getting 4
with
kills.
another probe kill though. And early in the game, all of those matter. Absolutely do.
So the Workers Kill tab actually shows 6. There was that initial probe that built the assimilator. There those 4 probes in the main base. I don't know where that 6th one went. And the Stargate going up for xSix Shadow, so he is going to try and go for Void Rays along with a couple of gateways. And as you said, the Marines on the high ground might be able to just deal with those Void Rays a lot more efficiently, just because of those 2 little edges that just run up past the ramp. The bunker is going up for 4Kings warding. These Stalkers being annoying, but one of them getting caught by the Concussive
that Stalker getting caught. That's a huge loss to Shadow. That's not what you want to have happen in this situation. Looks like he has cut probe production for now, going for this Void Ray build. First Void Ray being chroned out, and this will be 3-gate Stargate. So this is an all-in play unless he cuts production out of one of his facilities and decides to expand behind it. So
another barracks going up for Warden. So it looks like he's going to be producing Marauders and only Marines off of the rest of the barracks. Stim Pack is almost done. It is about 40 seconds away still, but that army is not even near the base yet. That Void Ray just now making its way across the map. Stim Pack, I do think it's going to be out in time.
Yeah, I mean, and that's really one of the key things. The other thing to look at is the fact he already has 10 Marines up. I mean, when you've got 10 Marines, and but look at this. He's going to use the pylon on the low ground to warp things in on the high ground, maybe. Oh, but he needs to be careful. Those Marines.
I don't think he expected that many Marines already.
Yeah, I don't think he did. So that's definitely not a situation you want to be in. And he's going to lose that Void Ray.
Yeah,
that was some terrible control there.
Warden being safe, placing a bunker at the back of his base. And really everything's going right for Warden right now. These Stalkers on the low ground didn't even get their chance to play yet.
They absolutely have not. But yeah, I mean the bunker on the high ground there is basically going to make that very, very safe. He's running another Void Ray in here, but he needs to be careful of these Marines.
He could charge up on the rocks. Those rocks are very close behind. They are
absolutely could.
That would actually make quite the difference. Decides to try and charge up once again on the supply depot. If he's not careful, he's trying to pick off these Marines, but not doing much at this point. He is throwing down his expansion at the same time.
Okay, so he is not going all in, then that means he has cut production from one of these gates. Looks like he's getting a robotics as well.
Yeah, meanwhile, Warden has not yet flown his command center across to the natural expansion. I think it's because he expects this this Stargate to actually be followed up by precisely 2 or 3
Stim
gates.
Finishes, and that Void Ray escapes with 9 health. Wow, that was pretty close there.
He is going back to pick off some SCVs, but he has to be very careful with this very, very fragile Void Ray. Wonder what Casdar thinks about this one.
Absolutely. And it looks like he's got his expansion up. He's established it. He's going robotics now, and I wouldn't be surprised to see some Colossus on their way out soon. But look at this move out from Warden. This is really well timed. You know, Shadow is going to have to pull back from this, and he really just doesn't have a lot of units.
I love the stim on the 2 Marauders and the Marines in front. If the Marauder can actually just get one shot off on the Stalker, he can pick it off, and there it is, forcing Shadow to actually move back. And that was well worth a stim there.
So we'll have to see if he can hold this off. We're probably a little bit of a preemptive force field there. He's going to go ahead and continue chrono boosting on his probes. Try and get those out. He needs to get the Colossus out, though. His robotics is up. He just doesn't have the gas to do it quite yet. Looks like Warren is just going to go ahead and pull back a little bit. And the medevacs show up, and this is one of those key moments right here, because now he's going to load up. He's going to put pressure on the front. Am I still with you?
Yeah, you're just breaking up a bit. You have a robotic voice. Robot's voice. That's good. Casting in the robot's voice.
It's unfortunate to be a robot.
Okay, so this Void Ray is actually patrolling the back of the main base from Shadow, but this drop has a lot of potential right now. There are a lot of units down there, and the drop goes up inside the main base. Only 5 Stalkers going to come back here. The Void Ray, once again, gets away with only 9 HP, and I'm actually looking for the cracks in this Void Ray. It is so brittle right now. Force field's actually preventing Shadow's army from engaging full on, and Warden is just going to walk back to the mineral line, going to see what kind of damage he can do there. Engaging once again, the Colossus has popped out, and this is actually going to be the end of this push, but it has done a lot of damage. I wish he would have actually picked off this Stargate.
But no, not quite getting that Stargate picked off. It looks like Shadow's still on 3 gates, but he, of course, is getting that Colossus range, getting a second Colossus, and was able to hold on to his 2 bases. So Warden pulling back for now, still has his medevacs, and still has quite a formidable force. We have a 30 supply deficit here on Shadow. So Shadow looking not to be in the kind of lead that he was the prior game.
No, but he is trying to come back in this game. He is chrono boosting out probes instead of units right now, so he does want to go back into a very macro-oriented game. But with the worker deficit he's at, it's 39 to 52 harvesters right now. I don't even know if that's possible. The factory going to make its way across the map to get the scout off.
It looks like we also have a third command center coming down here for Warden.
Yeah, he is going to be able to move that on the low ground and be very safe, especially with this huge army. He is producing a lot of Vikings right now, and with a very, very small stalker count, these Vikings are going to be safe to pick off Colossi wherever they want. Now, where are all these stalkers? I see 4 inside the main base, but that is it. There are 3 Phoenixes actually on the field right now.
Yeah, I was actually very curious about that. He's continuing to produce Phoenixes as well. So, I mean,
Don't
this
know
is
what his
something.
intention is with those.
This is something we've seen players like MC do, but I think I've only ever seen them do it in an opening, like they open up Phoenix
at this point
for map control.
It kind of seems a bit futile, because if you try and lift up one Marine, there are like 20 others that's shooting at you. I mean, the Phoenix play will only be very, very powerful if you can get a big number of them and start harassing the mineral line very effectively.
I think that the Phoenixes might be there to try and counteract the Vikings, but I'm not 100% sure. We will have to see. But you're right, that worker deficit is really killing Shadow right now. We look at his saturation at both bases. He's almost at perfect saturation at both bases, but that is, of course, 2 per mineral patch and 3 per gas.
That robot voice is awesome. I should program a bot to cast with me. It switches on and off, but there is an engagement going up here. Warden, I don't think he can walk up this ramp, because there is going to be some force fields that's going to cut him in half. He has no ghost in here, if I'm not mistaken. Actually, 3 on the field. I don't see them in this army.
Yeah, I'm curious as to where those are. It looks like those are back at the watchtower
right now.
There's 2 back at the watchtower, but Shadow cannot push out, and this is, at the very least, securing Warden his 3rd base.
At the very least, indeed. Now he's dropping mules there. He is going to keep producing SCVs to saturate that. It is still 52 to only 43 harvesters. These stalkers trying to walk in front, pick off a medevac, not going to happen. And the factory, once again, is going to try and scout the high ground, force the army to actually walk down here, but it doesn't look like it's going to happen. That is a lot of Vikings.
It is a lot of Vikings, and I'm actually very curious to see how this engagement turns out, because I have not seen Phoenix plus Colossus Ball against Bio in a very, very long time.
Yeah, it looks like we've traveled back in time about 3 months.
3 months in the metagame.
Yeah.
It does look that way.
And that is now a lot of Phoenixes against a lot of Vikings. I think the Vikings are actually going to try and focus down the Colossus instead of doing anything else. Some force fields.
Wow, that was some amazing EMPs, and Shadow just lost his full army.
Only 1 Colossus left and a whole bunch of Phoenixes that aren't going to do anything. GG from Shadow.
GG out of Shadow.
And we are going into Game 3. I'm so happy that Warden won. Now we get a Game 3.
I'm going to go ahead and quickly hang up this call and then recall you back and see if we can improve the call quality at all.
Okay, no problem. Now we are just going to wait for Gwin to actually call us back, because his mic was going robotic on us. It looks like Terminus has been vetoed by Warden. And we are just going to wait for the next map to start, and that was one weird game. I mean, the Phoenix choice, I still have to question it. It looks like the next map will be Antigua Shipyard. One of the new ladder maps, and really I hope that we get to see some of that abusive play on that little ledge there where you can actually set a tank there. Are you back with us, Gwin?
I am. How is the quality? Am I still a robot?
No, right now it's fine.
Excellent.
And we are going into Antigua Shipyard.
Oh, this is actually I love this map because you can take such a quick third on this map. In this matchup especially, it's so easy to, as Protoss especially, just get that third up really quickly and defend it with really good force fields early in the game and go for that very mobile gateway composition.
Yeah, I completely agree. And what I was saying is that, this map has been kind of designed to abuse of that little, very small ledge right next to the main base between, and we never see people abuse of that. It really looks like the Blizzard designers really wanted someone to just piss someone off with that ledge,
but it
never really happened. Yeah, exactly. So I hope we get to see that.
That would certainly be fun. Looks like Shadow is ready, and we're just waiting on Warden then for this last match to go ahead and start. And I'm really excited to see how this one turns out.
Yep, we have seen two great games by these players, especially Shadow in that first game has really impressed me. Not quite up to par in that second game because Warden was able to get a very easy win actually, or at least he made it look easy. The Colossus went down so quickly to that number of Vikings, and then he had ghosts, and his EMPs were very, very good. Yeah, especially that initial Void Ray, that big miscontrol by Shadow.
Absolutely. He just did not do the damage he needed to. And let's see, jumping into this match on the right-hand side of the map with the red coloring, we do have 4Kings Warden. And on the left-hand side of the map, in the yellow coloring, we do have xSix's Shadow. This is going to be a Protoss versus Terran here on Antigua Shipyard. And for those of you who might have just joined us, this is actually Game 3 of this best of 3 between these two players. And this is actually set 4 of the ESEA Weekly Clan War match. This is the first week for those for this season. And, we are proud. This is Gwin, and with me is Buddha, and we are proud to bring you these games.
And if you're just joining us, let me give you a bit more details about the format of this tournament. It is a 8-week-long tournament where every week every team has a matchup against every other team. They put up 4 players. Each of these players plays a best of 3 against the other opponent team's player, and in the end, they are playing for $5,000 in prize pool. And ESEA has actually been hosting a lot of tournaments for other games, and right now is really trying to get its StarCraft 2 presence known, and that is awesome, because StarCraft 2 is the best game.
It certainly is. It certainly is. Looks like Shadow gonna go ahead and scout. Unfortunately, he is scouting the wrong way. Only sees an Automaton 2000 there. Says a little bit of hello because Probes and Automaton 2000s are pretty good friends.
Yeah, they're basically the same. One's high tech, one's low tech. Yeah. Like his ancestor.
But they're still friends. And so we see the core going down for Shadow, still on the 1 gas, saving up some of those chrono boosts. And we'll be scouting the Terran second. But I guess we'll have to see if Warden, knows where his opponent is.
And Shadow now just walking up the ramp. He's going to see everything is normal. 1 gas, 1 Marine is being produced. Going to be able to chase away the probe. Is he going to go for that gas steal as he did last game? It does not look like he is. That probe is going to just die inside the main base like a sad probe.
It certainly will. With that 1 hit point, even if the Marine just barely grazes him, he is out. So we are going to see a couple Marines, and I'm curious if we're going to see, it looks like, a factory going down.
I like this. Warden is just switching up this time. We are going to be seeing something different.
I'm actually curious as to if this is going to be a 1-1-1 or a variant. Looks like a bunker going down at the front. Have we taken the second gas yet? No.
No, not yet. So he's not going to go for Cloak Banshee at least. He might go for a Banshee, but definitely not Cloak.
We will have to see what he does off this. Looks like Shadow is banking quite a few minerals, and look at this, going for a Nexus, it looks like. So this is actually a very fast expand out of him.
By Shadow.
This is a 1 gate, 1 gas expand, and he doesn't even have a warp gate up yet. And so I feel like this build from Shadow, is he building a Hellion? And a Starport.
That is a Hellion. It might be a Hellion drop. We are probably going to see a Hellion drop, actually.
I think this actually looks like it could be a 1-1-1 build. getting that starport up so quickly and getting the second gas at about the same time. So we'll have to see. 111, of course, kills everything except Nexus first, basically, from Protoss, or certain one-base Colossus.
Well, that looks good for Shadow right now.
Yeah, I mean, we'll see. He did not go Nexus first, but he did go an early Nexus.
To actually build from that starport. It is a medevac, so he is basically gonna.
Oh, so we're not seeing a 1-on-1. Then we are going to see some drop aggression with the bunker at the front to kind of defend that quick tech.
So he is going to try and drop the mineral line and kill as many probes as he can. And is he actually going to expand behind this? He should. He is actually throwing down another starport right now, and this is particular.
Yeah, I don't think I've seen anything like this before.
Really?
At all. So
and a tech lab on the starport. So he's actually going to follow this.
Look at this probe. That probe is going to
see the drop. But he's not going to see the double port Banshee. It does look like it's going to be a double port Banshee. Right now, there is no other add-on except for that reactor to swap with that starport, and he is going to put a tech lab on that starport, so it is going to be a double port Banshee right after that initial drop.
This is a very strange build. I haven't seen anything like this.
That medevac is actually heading over to the main base, but it's empty. I think he's just going to try and fake the drop right there, force all the stalkers back, and bring the Banshees inside the natural expansion.
And the Hellions in the front, yeah.
And
certainly be a good mind game to play.
Great mind game, especially considering that he has spotted this drop very early on. And there it goes, the medevac inside the main base, just walking around. Is he fooled by it? Yes, he is bringing out his stalkers. Meanwhile, the Hellions inside the natural expansion gonna start killing off probes. And I love this mind game. I have to say that Warden is really having fun with this build. I have to agree with this. Being trapped though with a few force fields, gonna force these Hellions at least kill one, but that was 9 workers killed.
But look at this. We already have a cannon going down the mineral line of the main, and a starport actually going down for Shadow. So I feel like these Banshees. Do they have cloak? No, they do not have cloak. Cloak is not on the way. So I mean,
look at this: 32 to 25 harvesters, 73 to 37 supply. Now that is huge for this early game, and these Banshees, Hellions, along with these couple of Marines, might be able to do a lot of damage. And this is so all in. He's actually pulling out all his SCVs. He did not have a command center, and the observer is actually inside the main base, sees what's going on. And this is going to be one scary push. 3 cannons going up at the front of the ramp. And this is going to come down to one big all-in from Warden.
Look at this out of Shadow. I mean, he is just chrono boosting his Stargate, trying to get a Phoenix out. But here comes the all-in.
It is the Hellions walking up the ramp, one going down very fast. And he's actually going to elevator inside. Is he going to use that ledge? Elevatoring the Hellions in front along with a couple of SCVs. Going to try and elevator the rest up here. Right now, very slow elevator, very methodical right now. These Banshees are going to do a lot of damage, especially to these stalkers. They need to target down that weak one with some very low HP. This is so tense right now. It is a huge push inside the main base. He is almost done elevating the rest of his army in there. He is actually focusing down a warp gate, trying to trap the units with some force fields.
Banshees just do absolutely so much damage, though.
They are very.
He's getting another Phoenix out, and one of the warp gates falls. So if the Cyber Core falls, that would be absolutely huge.
No more stalkers would absolutely be huge. No more anti-air. These Phoenixes, they are very, very fragile, especially the Marines. One does go down, and really,
the Cyber Core does go down.
This is doing so much damage. More Banshees in the fray here. 6 Banshees total. That might just be too much to handle.
One Banshee does go down though to those Phenoxen.
And and we are just going to have to wait and see how this turns up. 14 Harvesters killed, 15 Harvesters killed. At this point, I don't even think Harvesters matter because everyone's all in, and there's nothing
and those Banshees
left.
are actually going down to those Phoenix.
They are, but look, there's nothing left for Shadow inside the main base. No Harvesters left, no army left. He is just going to lose this base. He has lost 34 Harvesters. He is down to 10. Meanwhile, Warden has 20 left back at home. If I were Warden right now, I would just throw down a command center just in case this somehow fails, because he has such an advantage to continue in this game. And really, I don't know if Shadow can actually do this. He is throwing down more gateways. Another Cybernetics core at his expansion. Those 3 cannons in front have really proven to be completely useless because of the elevator.
They certainly have. It looks like those Shadow able to take down some more of those Banshees, but you know, he just keeps producing them out of those 2 ports. Constant Banshee production, and I mean, this is just a different variant of an all-in, and there's the GG out of Shadow.
And that was one fun all-in.
That certainly was an impressive all-in out of Terran. You know, we've seen some crazy stuff in the past. I don't think I've ever seen that specific all-in, and that's one to keep in the books.
With the medevac, and that medevac really proved very, very useful, avoiding those 3 cannons in front.
Absolutely. And so the final score, for those of you keeping score, xSix is going to take that with a 3-1 for the overall set. But to go through all the sets, we had Dream versus Mackenzie to start it off. Dream lost that 1-2 to Mackenzie. Then we had Lost versus Fargo, again went 1-2. And then we had a ZVZ, which was Gerbil versus Mystic, which actually went 0-2 in Mystic's favor. So Mystic taking that one out. And then Warden versus Shadow, of course, the ace match. Warden taking out Shadow 2-1.
And that will be the end of the game of the week for this week at least. Hopefully we will be back next week for the next one. Once again, this tournament is about 8 weeks long. I think they will try to alternate the casters and the game and the teams who actually play the game of the week. So thanks for tuning in, guys. It was really fun to cast, and thanks, Gwin, for actually joining me tonight.
Absolutely, Buddha. It was a pleasure to cast with you as well. Again, this is Gwin and Buddha signing off for the evening.
So until next time,